Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Ray, I assume I'm good to go. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ayer Virtual Business Forum. My name is Andrew Tixera. I'm an associate professor of chemical engineering at WPI, and I was asked today to give some opening remarks, some brief opening remarks, and I've topic this seeding innovation locally. So, a quick background on myself: I've been here at WPI about 10 years. My group focuses on reactor engineering as a whole, but I run the Honeywell Aerospace center here at WPI looking at hydrogen for the future of aviation. I also run several multi-million dollar DOE awards looking at waste valorization for waste energy and materials. And on the entrepreneurial side, I've recently spun off a company, my first company out of the group here, doing waste concrete, SemCycle. So I've kind of got these diverse experiences. And I was asked to, again, give some motivational comments here. So let's see if this works for me. Yep. So most of us probably know WPI, located in Worcester, Central Mass. But we're also the region's only R1 research institution based on our research enterprise. And we have a very strong focus on manufacturing, which is going to be a big topic of what I'm motivating today. We're members of 10 plus of the Manufacturing USA Institutes, and it's really core to what we're about. I like to say that in the region we're 1 hour away from anything and 3 hours away from everything, and that local capability is really what's going to shine in this. In the region, we have a lot of strengths. Our university and academic system, I mean, we've got 14 outstanding universities and community colleges in Central Mass, and that's really a hotbed for training and workforce and pipelines over there, but it's also for ideation and technology and innovation and spin-off companies. So it's a really an exciting resource. That coupled with a rich history, I mean, century plus, there's a reason why the region has traditionally had so much manufacturing. It's, the geographic advantage, as well as the historical knowledge and existing capabilities. I think it really is positioning us well to take on what's coming next. And what is that? I'm asking here the question today, what is next generation manufacturing looking like? The 19th, 20th century, it was all about economies of scale. It was going bigger is better, larger, centralized manufacturing with distributed networks. I'm arguing that there's a big transitioning happening, and that's going local, distributed, on demand, local manufacturing. And it's already started. When we think about our energy infrastructure, moving away from giant power plants and transmission lines and moving more towards solar or battery technology or microgrids. The same thing in our materials world, additive manufacturing and 3D printing, they're here to stay. But what I'm excited about are things like waste. Why are we throwing away our waste and wasting it, really? In a 5 gallon bucket of yard waste or sewage sludge or food waste, what I see when I look at that at a molecular level is not so dissimilar from crude. It's a long hydrocarbon backbone, it has a little extra oxygen, maybe some nitrogen. But why are we throwing that away? It has a huge embodied energy in it. And it's local. It's a local resource that we're paying to get rid of. So things like that, circularizing is where I think the manufacturing is going. Same thing with chemical and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Every McDonald's has a soda machine in it, right? Where we have on-demand manufacturing of soda and to get Coca-Cola. Is that where we're going for our chemical and pharmaceutical industries, agricultural making uh, fertilizers, etc.? I'm not going to talk much about the state's perspective on this, but the Mass Leads Act really did make two major investments. Three, I mean, AI is one, but in climate technology and biomanufacturing are two. And I just want to highlight in some aspirational ways a couple of points here. I'm fortunate to lead the Central Mass Climate Tech Hub, which is a consortium of startups and industry, academia, and nonprofits that are looking at, what are we going to do in this region to leverage our assets to make make ourselves the global leader in climate technologies for the future. And there's some more information on the QR code of how we're doing that, and hopefully we'll have some big announcements soon. But I'll say that there's a huge appetite and a lot of existing assets that we're really leveraging to make our workforce strong in the climate tech or climate technology realm. And then the last point I'll say is biomanufacturing. We're very familiar, or there's been a lot in the past 10 years of growth of biomanufacturing in Massachusetts, but really we focus on pharma. That's a small market or a small scale, large margin market there. But what we're pitching here is let's look at the other markets, the enormous markets, the chemicals, the fuels, the materials where you're producing enormous amounts. And can we do that with pharma? No, sorry, with biomanufacturing. And I'm arguing that the technology has advanced so much that we can make these microorganisms that can manufacture whatever we want inside a cellular factory. In WPI was recently tapped to lead the Central Mass Biohub as well, which is just coming online now, led by Professor Eric Young here, which I think is a very exciting area. So I was at 5 minutes, and that's my quick little overview of where we're at. I'd encourage folks, if you're curious, to reach out to me on any of this. But otherwise, I hope I've gotten us a little bit excited about what's possible in the region. I look forward to seeing where these conversations go. So Ray, I guess I'll hand it back to you. I'll hand over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can see the PowerPoint slide here. I'm just working to get it to presenter view. Thank you so much, Dr. Texera, for that inspiring start to our Friday. We really appreciate you helping to set the tone for today. My name is Ray Friedlander, and I serve as the Town of Ayer's Economic Development Director. I want to thank Melissa Federhoff and the Nashoba Valley Chamber of Commerce for partnering with us to host today's forum. Featured here are photos from one of their latest events, which is the Taste of Nashoba, where you can see some of the Ayer businesses that were represented there. And of course, a big thank you to all of our speakers for being here today and sharing your expertise with the public. Today's agenda was shaped directly by you through feedback we received and a business survey that was conducted by the Chamber this past spring. If you're interested, those survey results are available on our website, and you can use the QR code to get you there. Just a quick note before we get started: to help us stay on schedule, we ask that you hold your questions until the end, but feel free to drop them in the Zoom chat along with your email address, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Later this morning, one of our speakers will be addressing the question of why Massachusetts. So in that same spirit, I'd like to take a few minutes to answer a related question: why Ayer? A few weeks ago, I met with a longtime business owner, someone whose company has been in Ayer for decades. And during our conversation, the business owner told me that up until 5 years ago, he didn't realize that the town had a community and economic development department. And that stuck with me. The Community and Economic Development Department has been a part of the Ayer community since 1993. It was created as a response to the closure of Fort Devens, a moment in history when there was real concern about what losing the military base would mean for the local economy. But what that moment also created was a long-term commitment from the Ayer community to support businesses, invest in growth, and plan for the future. Fast forward to today, and that commitment is still paying off. Ayer's economy is strong and evolving. Our industrial park is home to major manufacturers producing goods like cooking oils, tofu, and flour, companies that aren't just here but continue to invest in and expand in their operations. Our downtown is nearing full occupancy with other storefront businesses located throughout the town. New businesses are choosing Ayer while existing ones are finding ways to grow. And financially, the town is in a very stable position. We were one of only 3 communities in the Nashoba Valley that did not require a budget override last year. So when we ask why Ayer, here are a few of the answers. We have a dedicated community and economic development team, small but mighty, and we're ready to connect businesses with local and state resources. We have an industrial development financing authority that the select board recently approved reallocating $1 million towards that the board will manage in order to support our local businesses. We offer high quality, award winning water and wastewater infrastructure, something that's critical but often overlooked. We're strategically located with access to routes 2A, 2, and 495. We have a busy main street with nearly 19,000 vehicle trips per day. We have freight rail access and an MBTA commuter rail service. We're committed to building a diverse and inclusive community with a focus on affordability and long-term sustainability. And importantly, we're a community of just under 9,000 residents, supported by more than 20 boards and committees, which shows that we have people here who are actively engaged and invested in Ayer's future. So at the end of the day, why Ayer isn't just about location and infrastructure. It's about a community that has been intentional over many decades about creating an environment where businesses can succeed. And it's about continuing that work together. Thank you all for being here. We're excited to have you join with us at today's forum. Up next, it is an honor to introduce to you our first speaker, Ayer's Town Manager Robert Pontbriand. A little bit about Robert. Prior to joining Ayer, he served as Chief of Staff to the Mayor of Fitchburg from 2002 to 2008 and worked in economic development at the North Central Chamber of Commerce from 2008 to 2010. In 2010, he was appointed to serve as the Town of Ayer's town administrator and then town manager, and this year marks his 16th year in service to Ayer. Welcome, Robert.
Well, good morning. And Ray, thank you for that great introduction. It's hard to believe that it's been 16 years. I had no gray hair when I first came here, but Ayer is a great community, and we're excited to be here as part of this morning. I would like to thank Ray for putting this important conversation together this morning. She joined us last July and has hit the ground running. And as she said, she is one of our principal point of contacts on all things community and economic development. I also want to just thank Melissa Federhoff, the Executive Director of the Nashoba Valley Chamber of Commerce, for all of her efforts and support for today and for her continued support of the business community here in Ayer and across the Nashoba Valley region. We've always had a strong partnership, the town of Ayer, with the Nashoba Chamber of Commerce. So thank you. And I just want to thank the Ayer business community for all of their continued support and contributions to the town of Ayer. It is not only their economic contributions in terms of jobs, business activity, but also their civic and community spirit and generosity that make Ayer such a special place to live, work, and learn. So I have a monumental task of now probably 4.5 minutes to give the state of the town. So I will be succinct, and I will put in the chat my contact information. I have an open door. Please stop by anytime to discuss the town further. But the state of the town of Ayer is not only strong, but we are positioned for further progress and growth for the future. Specifically, what makes Ayer strong is our financial position, our ongoing commitment to investing in our infrastructure, our capacity for collaboration and partnership with a proven track record in that area, and our forward-thinking strategy for the future. And last but certainly not least, our people, our businesses, and our community working together is really what makes Ayer such a special and successful town. So in terms of the finances, real briefly, as Ray mentioned, we were only one of 3 communities in the Nashoba Valley last year that didn't require some type of override action. And we are in a strong position this year as well, as many of our neighbors face round 2 of overrides. We have a $20 million budget. Our stabilization is 5.3 million. We have a capital stabilization of 6.1 million. We recently did our bond rating call with Standard & Poor and received a AA2 standard on the bond rating, which is the second highest you can possibly get. That's significant because it's a third-party professional analysis of the town's financial position and financial management, and is a true testament to the work of the community. We had 2.9 million in certified free cash last year. We are a community preservation community. We are 3% community. We have over $1 million in resources there. As Ray mentioned, the IDFA, which has been reconstituted by the Select Board, and has committed $1 million to that effort. And we have another just over a million in our Urban Development Action Grant. And if you look at the whole picture, for an approximately $20 million budget, we actually have $20 million in reserves. So for every dollar, there's almost sort of a backup, if you will. That did not happen overnight. The last 10 years, a dedicated effort by the town across the board. In terms of infrastructure, because the infrastructure forms the foundation for any successful community and business environment, for a small town of approximately 8,400 people, and we're in 9.5 square miles. So I like to say we're really like a small city, but with a small town feel. Strategically located near Route 2 and Route 495, as well as right at the entranceway to Devon's. We also have the commuter rail and freight rail that serves the town. We have full municipal water, full municipal sewer, recently created a stormwater enterprise system. We run a full ambulance service with both advanced life support and basic life support, full police department, full DPW, senior center, strong schools. We're in the regional school district with Ayer Shirley Regional School District and the Nashoba Valley Technical High School. So for businesses and residents, we have the full spectrum of services and support that you would find in a small city, but yet in a small town. So in terms of our capacity for collaboration, which is key, we have a proven track record of successful collaboration and partnership throughout the years. We are home to Pulmoni, formerly known as Nasoya, which is the largest tofu facility in the nation. That evolution was a result of strong partnership between the town and Pulmoni in terms of a previous tax increment finance agreement, as well as a recent sewer capacity agreement. We have had a successful TIF with Catania Oils as well, with their expansion project and job creation. American Superconductor, when they were downsizing due to the production change in their product, they were going to leave Devon's. We had an opportunity for them to come to Ayer in the former Canes building. We have a strong relationship with the state on the Mass Works infrastructure grant program. We've done the Four Corners intermunicipal sewer project in Groton that brought economic development to that portion of Groton. We have interconnection agreements for water and sewer with Devon's. We are a vibrant Habitat for Humanity community. We just opened our recent Habitat house right behind Town Hall a couple weeks ago. We have two exciting affordable housing projects on the horizon, the Devon's Crest affordable housing and the NOAA affordable housing new construction, which will be on Fitchburg Road. We work very close with the Montechusett Regional Transit Authority. Our intermodal parking facility was the result of a federal, state, and local commitment and partnership. It took 25 years to get it built, but it is built, and it is at the gateway of the Nashua River Rail Trail. And we provide veteran services to veterans on mass development through another agreement. And we are also home to the Ayer Shirley Regional Dispatch Center, which is a partnership between Ayer, Shirley, and State 911. So when we look to the future, there are challenges and opportunities. We were formed on the crossroads of the rail, so we're always at a crossroads, which is a positive thing in terms of challenges and opportunities. In terms of challenges, affordability is a challenge, I think, for everybody. It's not unique to Ayer, but it is a significant challenge. Water and sewer capacity, though we have a full service system and strong commitment to that infrastructure, the issue of water and sewer resources become a challenge, especially with growth. Energy and fuel costs have always been a challenge for New England and the Northeast, but in recent international volatility, that is of concern as we move forward. I think it's concerns for businesses. We hear it that the cost of energy and affecting the bottom line, and growth does require energy. And at only 9.5 square miles, land use and land development is a challenge as there's more economic development and business development and residential development. The challenge for the town is to balance that against open space, conservation, and other opportunities. And then as we look to the future for opportunities, we will begin construction on a new $15 million senior center in the near future. I mentioned two significant affordable housing projects that are coming to Ayer. We continue to work collaboratively with Mass Development in Devens. That's been the view of the town of Ayer, is how do we work together and collaboratively for opportunities. And we are also looking at future job development opportunities, workforce training, the future of healthcare in the region, and access to that. I know that I have an expert speaker on that later. I could go on and on, but I think I'm at my time. So in conclusion, the state of the town of Ayer is not only strong, but we're positioned for growth and progress. And we want to continue to be a partner with all of you. And I think the key thing today and moving forward is we get informed, we communicate, and we act together. And that's the key. As we address opportunities and challenges, having the information, communicating, and developing those partnerships are key. So in conclusion, I want to thank Ray and Melissa for having me. Thank you all for your interest, and I will put my contact info in the chat, and I look forward to continuing to work with many of you and to meeting some of you as we move forward. So thank you. I'll turn it back to you, Ray.
Thank you, Robert. Up next, we have Kevin Kuros of the Massachusetts Office of Business Development talking to us about why Massachusetts.
Great. As I'm going to try to share my screen, just let me know if you all can see it in 1 second. Are we good? Great. Thanks so much. So, real quick introduction. So, I'm the Central Mass Director for what's called the Mass Office of Business Development. We are the state's economic development agency. And you're going to hear a theme in my comments that really dovetail with what Andrew started with, and then with what a couple of the subsequent speakers are also going to talk about. It's really about Team Massachusetts is the focus. And the message from the administration is that we really want to encourage an innovation economy. And so what we've done, as a state is really focus a lot of our efforts on industries and sectors where we think there can be, the biggest benefit to businesses, to people, to establish careers, to work and live in a really wonderful environment. So something that our office does at MOBD is we are typically the first point of contact whenever an out-of-state site selection firm might be looking for a home for one of their client businesses. So our office, tends to quarterback those types of responses. We may get a request, and oftentimes we don't even know who the company is, but the site selection partner will tell us something like, listen, they're a biomedical manufacturing company. They're looking for 100,000 square feet. They're going to hire 200 people and invest $100 million. What do you have for us relative to incentives? What do you have for us relative to workforce availability? And what do you have relative to availability of facilities? And so some of our following speakers will address some of those issues as well. But what we always include in those presentations, because it's not just about incentives and everything else, businesses don't make decisions on where to locate. People make decisions on where to locate their businesses. So we always try to stress that Massachusetts is absolutely a great place to both work and to live. It's a great R&D environment. If you're an emerging company, it's a very high innovation state. World renowned for our academic institutions across the Commonwealth. And so we try to personalize the responses that we give to these site selection companies, because we want it to be more than just about numbers that you plug into a spreadsheet. Because quite frankly, Massachusetts is not always the most economical place to do business, but we offset that with access to probably the best talent on the face of the earth, and a number of other advantages as well. So we do talk about things that are very important, especially to high level executives that are making decisions on where to locate their business. The best place to raise a family, the best school system, the best in healthcare, or among the best in healthcare. And these are all things I think that we feel play to Massachusetts' strengths when competing with other states. We have a lot of competition with Research Triangle down in North Carolina, and other Midwest states as well. Sometimes their incentive packages are significantly better than ours. But when taken in the context of everything all together, we feel we make a pretty compelling argument for why Massachusetts. And again, things like for companies that work on government contracts, cyber financing, award funding, we're number one in the nation, number one in NIH award funding. Now that might be changing a little bit with the current administration, but again, these are all very, very positive um, determining factors. 114 world-class colleges and universities. So, Andrew touched on this, but the Mass Leads Act, said, hey, let's double down on a lot of the things that have made us very successful. So, and I'm not going to, reiterate this, but he touched on the burgeoning, the well-established and still growing life sciences industry, a new investment in climate tech. We're hoping lightning strikes a second time. 15 years ago, Governor Patrick invested $2 billion in life sciences, and we're now the life sciences hub of the world. And we're hoping lightning strikes again by making a similar investment on climate tech. And then, as Andrew mentioned, there's a lot of movement around AI. I'm just going to blow through these next couple slides after this one, and I'll leave them with you, and then Ray can get you more information. But I mentioned Team Massachusetts. The whole notion is we are all one team. And along those lines, we set out to make it easier to do business with the Commonwealth. So we spent about a year and a half developing a new portal called the Business Front Door to make it easier for companies to access state resources. Ray can get you more information, a link to the Business Front Door website. This presentation is not about that, but it is about Team Massachusetts. And you see, some of the agencies that we work with on a regular basis, several of which are going to be speaking to you in the next few minutes, right? But beyond just the software portal of the Business Front Door, what we've really done to answer the question why Massachusetts is we've re-engineered the process that we use. So I am leaving this call in a few minutes to join a call with every one of these agencies. We now once a week get together with the leadership of all these agencies, and also Rob Anderson and Pete Ayer are typically on that call as well. Guys, I will make the apology for you for being a little bit late to the meeting. But we're really trying to engineer this so that everybody is talking on a regular basis to make sure that if a big opportunity that requires coordinated effort from workforce development and incentives and and permitting and all those types of things, that we're all getting together on a regular basis. So I'm just going to blow through these two. From a life sciences perspective, no other state in the country could put up a slide like this. I could say that with 100% confidence. It is just unbelievable the ecosystem that's developed here over the last 15 or so years. Similarly, we are number 2, believe it or not, in clean energy jobs per capita. Which may surprise a lot of people given the focus on life sciences over the years. And this is not just the large companies, it's also the whole ecosystem of smaller businesses that provide services and products in those spaces as well. And again, here's a similar slide for climate tech. Pretty impressive when you start to read through that and all the emerging technologies companies in that space to make renewable products. Here's something that spans businesses of all sizes, our ability to support workforce training and development. And again, I would encourage you to take a look at the Mass Talent website, leverage the Workforce Training Fund program that is run by the Commonwealth Corporation. Every company that has payroll and pays into the state's unemployment insurance fund actually pays into the fund that supports the Workforce Training Fund grant program. So whether you know you're paying into it or not, you are every 2 weeks when you make payroll. So I encourage every business to explore the Workforce Training Fund program to see if you can get some money back out of it to help train your employees. And then last, again, our office, the Mass Office of Business Development, we're here to kind of provide a concierge service. There's my email address. Feel free to reach out anytime. And then I would encourage you to pester Ray and get the link to the business front door and try to connect to the Commonwealth through the business front door. So that was a fire hose version. Hope I get us a little bit closer to back on time. And Pete Ayer, Rob Anderson, I will apologize for your tardiness to our 11 a.m. all hands meeting.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. Up next, we have Pete Ayer from Mass Econ talking to us about how workforce talent impacts Massachusetts' leading industries.
There we go. Oh, I had it and lost it. Hold on. There we go. Well, thanks so much. Appreciate the time to speak at this forum. Hopefully you all see what's on my screen. All right. So a little bit about Mass Econ. We're a statewide economic development nonprofit. We provide a number of different services, but one of those I want to talk about a little bit today is site location services. So we work with our state partners, many of which are on the call today. And as Kevin indicated, we work with on a weekly meeting, sharing information about different projects that we're working on with our state partners. We're an independent nonprofit, but we're part of that state team. One of the services we provide are site location services on behalf of the Commonwealth. Last year, we assisted on 118 projects. We were involved in 21 projects where we were engaged in non-disclosure agreements with those projects. We had 120 Team Massachusetts meetings in that time. 8 expansion relocations resulted from Mass Econ related projects, 2.5 million square feet of space, 3,500 jobs. We're involved in these site location projects throughout the state. To give you an idea of the types of industries that we tend to work on, manufacturing, that of course covers many types of manufacturing, is always sort of our lead. In terms, we tend to work on larger projects, and so manufacturing stands out. Climate tech, life sciences, warehouse distribution, office data, retail spaces as well, and food processing, a very important industry in Massachusetts. So that gives you an idea of the types of projects. Average project size for us is about 85,000 square feet. Again, many very small projects and mega projects beyond that in the million square foot range on occasion. So what are factors in business relocation and expansion? And these are aggregated by Mass Econ from a number of different sources. Number one is access to desired workforce. A company is not going to locate, a business is not going to locate or expand when they can't attain the workforce that they need. So the number one factor by a mile is access to workforce. That only really changes if you are a retail establishment and you are locating because of access to a market. And that is the variable that affects retail in terms of their decision making. But for all other industries, it's access to workforce. These are the top 10. There are other factors, so it's not that none of these are unimportant. It's just that workforce is absolutely the key. And as we see in Massachusetts, our talented workforce, and I'm so glad that we heard from Andrew at the outset, and then just Kevin talking about the different workforce assets that we have. These are important assets. Having having an outstanding organization like WPI and having the BETC there, that is, no, it is the yeah, it is the BETC. Training workers for biomanufacturing jobs. It's an incredible asset to have, and we have multiple institutions that have many more programs that are focused on key industries for Massachusetts. What I'm sharing now is actually something from the Department of Economic Research in Massachusetts that shows the leading jobs currently in Massachusetts, and a number of those that are in blue are they are increasing. Actually, healthcare is actually down a little bit in terms of jobs in the last period, but professional science, technology, manufacturing, education services, finance and insurance, information, and so forth are high job demands. And we see where these jobs are, and they are in Middlesex and central Massachusetts. That's the highest, north central Massachusetts. That's a high constant. That's where we see a lot of these jobs available. This is something we do at Mass Econ when we're working with a job with a business prospect that's considering a location. They will often ask us, well, what is workforces within a 45-minute drive to that location? So if we put that pinpoint on Ayer in 45 minutes, it's an incredible workforce. So as when you think about Ayer, it's obviously you want to have grow economic development and business opportunities in Ayer, but remember your workforce is far bigger than Ayer. You are pulling people from this 45-minute drive time, and you have this incredible number of workers in these key areas that were noted in the prior slide. And location quotients indicate the concentration of jobs. And just to point one out, in the location quotient of 1 in industries connected with communications, a 1 would say, well, that's about what you'd expect given the population in this area. But it's a 2.2, which means it's twice the number of occupations in that area in those roles. So that's an incredible. These are incredible assets. You have incredible assets in terms of workers in the 20-minute commute range. It's much more narrowly defined. But again, you see the number of workers in these key industrial, key workforce areas, as well as those location quotients, which are all over 1, which means you have a greater concentration of skills in these types of positions than you would expect given the population. And so, key assets for Ayer and its region. This is pulling from a UMass Donahue Institute projection, kind of looking down the road in terms of workforce. And again, we see here in terms of where the population is increasing versus decreasing in terms of more births and deaths. We see that in Middlesex and Worcester, Essex. So certainly that's a plus for the area. A statewide issue is we're getting older. I'm helping lead the way there. We're getting older as a population. That's a concern. You need younger workers to sustain these industries. One story you hear quite often is that domestic migration, we're losing people to other states. The news is we always lose people to every other states all the time. It's happened historically, and that is just the nature of Massachusetts. Massachusetts always sends people to other parts of the country. It's a domestic exporter of jobs, always has been. But we are a big international importer of jobs. We import talented people from all around the world, and that's to our benefit. A concern for Massachusetts in general is the relatively slow increase in terms of the labor force. It's been a good sign in recent years, but projected over the long period, we need additional workers and to fuel the jobs of the future. So workforce is number one in terms of the locational decision making for businesses. And as Kevin just demonstrated very well, I mean, kind of stepped on my lines a little bit, but incredible assets that we have. And this blows away what other states can do in terms of supporting workforce. So whether it's our community colleges, which can often turn on a dime for a particular type of workforce need, or the established programs through Mass Hire and Mass Talent. Workforce Training Fund is an incredible. Other states do not have a grant program to businesses to provide training, and Massachusetts does. So we have incredible assets in terms of training. And in terms of target industries, these are discussed often at the state level: defense, life sciences, climate tech, advanced manufacturing, financial services, AI, and all the associated industries to those. And so, with the when we talk about workforce and the importance of looking at trends in workforce, looking at trends, you're looking at things that have happened in the past. We are a strong performing economy because we're a wicked smart population with talented workers and workers that are getting trained for cutting edge industries, and our ability to retain and continue to attract those talented workers and prime the pump through all these different services is what will keep Massachusetts ahead. And as we saw with those mapping around the Ayer area, you are in a great position in terms of the workforce you already have in those commute periods, and we're likely to see increased concentration of workers in those jobs as well. So I will stop there, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Pete. Up next, we have Rob Anderson with Mass Development talking to us about how Devens and Ayer work together.
Hey, oh, wonderful. I'm so glad to see everyone. I always like the opportunity to talk. I think it's especially appropriate that the person that started talked about collaboration, and his name was Robert as well. So I think there's parallels happening. I always like to start with a little bit of an introduction about mass development. We are a quasi-public statewide economic development organization. We do work throughout the state with nonprofits, housing developers, and businesses. We have a huge impact on the Massachusetts economy, and it's all about creating impact. And that's because we work with a variety of different business types. We work with municipalities. We have some grants. We work with nonprofits who are creating housing, doing museums through our Cultural Facilities Fund. We work with manufacturers who actually make widgets. They also brew beer. They also make chocolate. Those businesses that give those as handouts when you visit are the best. Those that perhaps make something medical device are less appropriate. But mass development tries to be out there in order to improve economic development in the state. In the region, along the Route 2 corridor, we are most well known as the entity that owns and operates Devens. Devens is, 4,400 acres, a former base that closed in 1996. We are celebrating our 30th year. At that point in time, there were a lot of residents who lived there and less business. And so the transition in those 30 years has been striking. There are now over 7,600 employees there, over 100 types of businesses, and some residents. There are companies that are changing things worldwide. Commonwealth Fusion System is going to be taking a look at fusion power. We've got companies like Watson Marlowe who are doing plastics from an automated standpoint. We've got companies like Veranova, Bristol Myers Squibb. The Route 2 corridor is the next frontier for economic development. Start 128, you do 495. It's the Route 2 corridor. And when you think about economic development in corridors, it is not a single entity that causes that change. It is collaboration between the municipalities who are bringing resources to the table. It is thinking about where you can place the resources in the best position so that everyone from a regional standpoint can take advantage of it. You may have seen in an earlier slide that there were only about 1,000 residents at Devon's. There is a plan going forward to increase the amount of housing at Devon's. However, when you have housing being created and you have economic development in the region, there are people who are going to take advantage and want to live in a wonderful corridor with lots of resources. That's where those relationships with communities like the town of Ayer, gateway cities like Leominster and Fitchburg can help make sure that when the state is selling this new corridor, that we can build in a sustainable model. And again, I am reiterating some of the things that were said earlier. There's growth potential based upon shared resources. We do have the water and sewer relationship with the town of Ayer. The town manager, Robert, again, mentioned shared resources with Shirley for, I want to say it was a police or fire, but again, it's the sharing of those resources that make sure that we have a rising tide that lifts all boats. Again, we heard from WPI. The highly educated workforce that's coming out of Worcester settles in the Route 2 corridor. When you have that highly educated workforce and a transportation infrastructure that is available, such that the commute between communities can be significantly less than someone who lives 10 miles outside of Boston and spends an hour and a half. You can actually build upon that, so you have that live, work, play component to actually make sure that there are the amenities in place so that you can grow. And towards that, you end up having the ecosystem for entrepreneurship and suppliers to the large businesses. Again, I want to, the nation's largest tofu manufacturer is in Ayer. I just learned that, and I think that's amazing. There are suppliers who could think about locating nearby to help that company expand. Bristol Myers Squibb at Devon's might be expanding, and there are those opportunities for suppliers to companies like that to settle in the area so that the full economy for the Route 2 corridor can rise. Again, Mass Development owns and operates Devon's. However, Devon's isn't our true focus. We have financing programs that are available to all businesses. We have loans. We work with banks for guarantees to help businesses get money. We have grants. We offer some pre-development loans. We actually have a program called PACE that helps property owners make clean energy investments into their properties. For municipalities, we have a brownfields fund that can help clean and repurpose and get back onto the tax rolls dirtier sites. And again, we hit upon infrastructure financing as well when the need arises. I think the key thing that I always like to say is that you don't, as a municipality or a business, have to know all of our programs. That's my job. That's my lender's job. That's my colleague who runs the tax exempt bond program. I think the one thing I would have people take away is that when thinking about economic development for the town of Ayer, Mass Development is a partner. And that in dealing with Ray and the team at the town, you can access the resources not only of Mass Development, but those of the state's Office of Business Development through Kevin, through Mass Econ, and some of the other speakers who are coming later. Ray, I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you later in case people want to review it, but I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob, for being here, and I hope we didn't get you in trouble with your 11 a.m. meeting there.
I am always in trouble. That's the thing. Always in trouble.
Well, at least it's a
Uh,
Friday. Thank
yes.
you. Up next, we have Matthew Healy of Mass MEP and Rich Cook from the Center of Advanced Manufacturing, who are going to talk to us about artificial intelligence in the workplace.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Healy. I'm the Director of Emerging Technologies at Mass MEP. And I'm joined today by Rich Cook, who's the Senior Manager of Manufacturing Growth and Workforce at Mass Tech. We're here to briefly talk about something that everyone right now is really excited about, which is AI and artificial intelligence, and how we're creating real practical opportunities for manufacturers right here in Massachusetts. Um, so just to give everyone a brief overview of who Mass MEP is. Mass MEP stands for the Massachusetts Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We've been serving manufacturers across the Commonwealth for over 30 years now. We're part of a national network, which is the MEP National Network, which is a collaborative partnership between government, business, and academic organizations. And they're all focused on one thing, which is helping manufacturers compete and thrive. And our goal is usually manufacturers that are under 200 people. Our work falls into three main areas. The first is operational excellence. So we help with continuous improvement, lean manufacturing, supply chain optimization. Second, workforce strategies, which we all know that finding and keeping skilled workers is one of the biggest challenges that companies can face right now. And then the third, which is really my focus at the organization, is emerging technologies, and we're trying to help manufacturers adopt new tools like AI and automation, and guiding strategic transformation so that you're not just keeping up, but the company's actually getting ahead right now. So I'm going to turn it over to Rich so he can talk about Mass Tech and CAM and give you an introduction to them.
Thanks, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Rich Cook. I work for the Center for Advanced Manufacturing at Mass Tech. Real quick about Mass Tech and CAM. Mass Tech is part of Team MA. A lot of my different colleagues have spoken today, but we're part of Team MA. It's an economic development agency. So the Center for Advanced Manufacturing is a division under Mass Tech, and we focus on manufacturing. And what we're looking to do is strengthen Massachusetts manufacturing ecosystem by supporting small and mid-sized manufacturers through strategic investment, workforce development, and innovation initiatives. We get the different parts of the ecosystem together, we collaborate, and we fund. We are a grant funding agency. We also get different parts of the ecosystem together to collaborate. There are specific to manufacturers. There's funding available for capital equipment and growth. There's grants available up to $300,000 for capital equipment. We do work on workforce development initiatives with lots of partners that are on today, and others in the manufacturing ecosystem in Massachusetts, and emerging technologies as well. So there's some funding available for startups and innovative companies there as well.
All right. One of the things I want to go over today is, one of the big buzzword tools that everyone's hearing about is Claude Cowork in the last few weeks. So just to give you a few examples on where we can use that in manufacturing. So Claude Cowork does come from Anthropic. And it's something a little bit different than, let's say, ChatGPT or any of the other AI tools that you've heard about. It lives right inside of some of the tools that you might be using, whether it's Excel, PowerPoint, or right on your desktop in your documents. Um, there's no separate app to learn, no switching back and forth. It's AI that's going to work alongside the user, and does not be instead of the user. You'll give you a real world manufacturing example, and something that we helped one of our clients with within the last week, actually is, think about a production planner. They're building their weekly schedule. Before a tool like this, it could have been, a 4 hour or more job. Copying order data to systems, manually building Excel sheets, perhaps. A lot of our clients they're building their production planning on Google Sheets, which is, a tough way to run a business. Um, so with Claude Cowork, the AI can read the open orders, it can build the schedule, it can flag any capacity conflicts, and even draft a shift report. So that schedule could be done now in, let's say, 30 minutes, and the planner isn't replaced. They still have to be what's called human in the loop. They have to review, they have to approve, and they're just getting some help with their work now, not building something from scratch. So, one of the key messages to that is that AI isn't replacing the person. It's giving them, more free time or value-added time back in their day. So let me switch the slide to this one. So a couple more examples to give, in the manufacturing community and things that at Mass MEP we help our clients with and have projects for. Um, is one of them is our NVIDIA Jetson program. So it's bringing Edge AI directly onto factory floors. What it does is it's an AI that runs right on a piece of hardware. It looks like a small computer. And when I say small, 4 inches by 4 inches, it's a very small device. No cloud connection. It goes right onto the production line. The data stays in the building. And what it does is, some of the instances that we've used for this, it's a real-time computer vision for defect detection. So we can hook up a simple $100 webcam onto a production line, and it's going to catch quality issues that the human eye might miss at full production speed for less than $500. The predictive maintenance that these small devices can have, the system learns their equipment, it learns the patterns, and tells you if something is going to fail before it actually does. So you can have scheduled maintenance instead of dealing with emergency downtime. And it's all on that one small device that can be programmed very easily by someone in the office. The other thing that we see a lot is we have a lot of manufacturers, they just don't even know where to start with AI. So we have a little bit different approach to an introduction to AI, whereas at the end of our course, um, the participants will actually walk away with a custom tailored action plan to see where AI is most going to be implemented the easiest and have the most impact within their organization. They leave with the actual roadmap for what to do next on the factory floor, in the office, on the loading dock, wherever that may be.
Matt, if I could jump
So,
in real quick,
yep.
just to Matt's point. So in my current role, I interact with a ton of just like Matt, a ton of manufacturers out in the field in Massachusetts. And the biggest transition from last year to kind of this year at this time, last year, AI was the big buzzword. Nobody really knew what to do with it. This year, people are doing some very low-hanging fruit things that Matt's talking about that save tens to hundreds of hours. Tie it back to Ayer. I'm not from Ayer, but I spent a lot of time in that community. I was at Devon's with the 455th Medical Company for 8 years, and then I spent time at Bemis Associates in Shirley 8 years prior to this position. And it was a union shop. We had schedules to run daily production schedules, but also just individuals. That was a full-time job for somebody to do. So you're talking 40 hours a week plus overtime, whatever they're making, plus benefits, things like that. All that stuff can be done through simple AI now. So in that setting, your organization's saving a ton of money. You're repurposing that individual to do something value add for the company rather than doing getting bogged down in scheduling. And you're in that setting again. It's a union shop. You're saving on grievances and frustration from union employees missing out on overtime they might not have been able to get.
Yeah, and that's, like Rich said, the easiest way we can start is that low-hanging fruit and just get companies to start using AI to give them back that time that, they can use for different things. Um, and to just wrap up real quick, so here's our contact information. I can also put it into the chat for both Rich and I. But if anyone's looking for any ways to, use some of these tools within your facilities, we're more than happy to connect and, talk to you about them.
Yeah,
And I'll
and
give
thanks, Matt. Just reach out to Matt and I too. Like I said, love site visits. Come out even if I can't help you, we're connected to this thing we call the ecosystem. We can find different federal and state resources that might be available to you if you're a manufacturer.
Thank you both so much. And we're getting caught up on time here, which is great. So thank you for helping us with that. Up next, we have Emily McGuire and Nolan DiGionato of the Massachusetts Supplier Diversity Office. And so they're going to help us better understand what their office does along with state resources.
Thanks so much, Ray. So glad we're back on schedule because this is truly 5 minutes. I will not take too much time for you guys. So we're going to be demystifying the Supplier Diversity Office and then sharing some resources based on that survey that Ray was kind enough to share with our team. So the Supplier Diversity Office is a independent agency that works alongside the Operational Services Division, who runs pretty much all the procurement in the Commonwealth. We used to be under that agency, but because we run so many robust programs, we have been able to become independent. So we have 5 programs. I'm only really going to talk about 2 because they're the most applicable to businesses, but if anyone has any questions, my email will be in here. You can chat with me anytime. Try to make this work for it. Oh, okay. Ruined all the surprises. Alrighty, so the Supplier Diversity Program and the Small Business Purchasing Program are really our 2 big procurement opportunities that we offer for small businesses. So the Supplier Diversity Program applies for contracts over $250,000, and that essentially involves state contractors having to commit a percentage of dollars earned from the contract to spend with certified diverse businesses. Because we like to offer something for everybody, if you don't belong to a diverse category, there's still something for you, and that would be the Small Business Purchasing Program. So for Massachusetts-based small businesses, for contracts that are valued below $250,000, state buyers have an obligation to review your bid first. And if you meet evaluation criteria as a small business, that opportunity is given to you rather than a larger business or an out-of-state entity. So these 2 programs are really our bread and butter. They are the preferred, I would say, preferred entrance into state contracting because vendors can see how they like it, dip a toe in the pool type of thing. Do you want to become a prime vendor? Well, you can ascertain that by participating in SDP or SBPP and seeing if state contracting is something you really want to invest your time in. We understand that is the most precious commodity to our business owners is your time. So we do try to make these avenues to state contracting easier than maybe becoming a prime vendor or a sole vendor on a contract. In order to participate in the Small Business Purchasing Program and SDP, we do require certification, but I do like to put free in here because that's everybody's biggest question. How much does it cost me? So certifying with the SDO is free, yay. We also have partnerships with a lot of entities. So if you're already certified, we're not going to make you do it again. We have reciprocal relationships, which make it easier for you to access the programs. We also offer certification for nonprofits. So while this is obviously impactful for participating in the 2 programs I just mentioned, it's also really helpful to get yourself out there as, a marketing tool. You have been vetted by a state agency. We have a reputable presence in the Commonwealth, and we also are really well connected with resources and partners, many of whom have already spoken today. The biggest obstacle, I would say, to folks participating in state contracting would be Combis, which is our state procurement website. It is a little daunting when you start looking at it, but there are so many resources and ways to kind of demystify that system as well. In addition to the points of contact I've listed here, we have some Combis training, some links. My amazing intern, who I now neglected to introduce, Nolan, put this together, and he has been in several meetings with me when I've met with vendors and business owners to kind of show them how to use Combis. So all to say, we are well versed in this system as well. And if you ever have questions, you can direct those to the points of contact or to us directly as well. Now for the good stuff. So Ray was kind enough to share the results of the survey and kind of listed the things you guys were looking for. Contracting with the state and local governments was in there. The Supplier Diversity Office does a good job of kind of explaining those bid opportunities, including with quasi institutions, which would be like universities and other institutions that may receive state funding, but they're not a state agency. So we have links for that. We also have links for the Division of Capital and Asset Maintenance and Management. So if you are a business that's in the trades and you want to maybe get involved in the building aspect of state contracting, you might need certification depending on which trade you're in. Definitely worth exploring there. EOED, we had them present, and we have a link to Business Front Door right here. So if you guys want to check that out, it is in this slide. I will be sharing it just as everyone else has shared theirs. I also have information on the loans, the grants, the capital programs that EOED manages if you want quick reference to that. The Office of the State Treasurer is one of our closest agency partners, and they put together a tremendously cool small business resource toolkit. Definitely recommend you check that out. The small business development centers across Massachusetts are just a wealth of knowledge. You can get one-on-one assistance there if you're looking to develop a business, if you're looking maybe to do succession planning. What am I going to do when I don't want to do this business anymore? They have everything you could need. For folks curious about health insurance, I know there was some questions about PFMLA. Mass Health and the Health Connector for Businesses can give you some information on that without necessarily saying, oh, by the way, you have to do Mass Health insurance policies. They do an info session, they do resources, as well as you can get information on what policies you could offer your employees. And then Mass Hire, we've had some folks talk about talent acquisition in the Commonwealth. We all love to live here. Everybody likes to work here, but we do have a lot of folks who are still looking for jobs right now. Mass Hire does a tremendous job of bringing those qualified applicants together to businesses. So if you have opportunities you're looking to hire for, definitely check out Mass Hire. They also have business services, so another group of folks that you can meet with individually to talk about what your business needs. All to say, state resources, anything with a mass.gov website or email address rather, we are all very well connected with each other. So if there's something that you're looking for, you're having a hard time reaching someone, reaching out to us at the SDO or any of the partners who have presented here today would be really beneficial for you. And ultimately, your taxpayer dollars are the reason why we work, and we're here to help you. So don't hesitate to send emails, give us calls, ask those questions, because we want to see your business succeed. So my email is listed here. I will go ahead and share this with Ray. As I said, my phone is glued to me at all times. So you can call, you can email, I will get right back to you. And I hope to see you guys with the Supplier Diversity Office soon. Ray, I will go ahead and stop sharing, and it's all you.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, we have Trisha Pistone with UMass Memorial Health talking to us about expanding healthcare services in the Nashoba Valley.
Good morning, everyone. Still morning. Thank you, Ray and Melissa and others for having me here today. My name is Trisha Pistone. I'm the AVP of External Affairs here at UMass Memorial Health. I specifically work out of the Health Alliance campus in Leominster, but have had the absolute privilege of representing UMass Memorial Health on the journey it has taken over the past about 18 months after the Nashoba medical close, the Stewart closure of the facility in Ayer, around how UMass can support the region from a healthcare perspective. Now I just got to make sure I can advance my slides. There we go. A little bit about UMass. We are the Central Masses. We are located in Central Mass. We are the largest healthcare provider in Central Massachusetts. We make up 3 community hospitals, 1 academic medical center connected with UMass Memorial Chan in Worcester. We have 1 behavioral health agency. To date, with the inclusion of Milford, we have almost 22,000 caregivers that work across our system, in addition to 3,400 providers. I'm not going to go through all this information, but to really call out maybe just a couple areas in terms of Central Mass's only level 1 trauma center in Worcester, the only level 3 neonatal intensive care unit, the Children's Medical Center in Worcester, as well as having a hospital-based emergency life flight program, which was actually the first in the state. UMass Memorial Health has had over 25 years, 27 years, in fact, of stabilizing healthcare in Central Mass. You can see how UMass has been formed with various nonprofit hospitals that make up the overall UMass system. Even though the Henry Heywood Healthcare and Athol and Gardner is not part of UMass, we do work very closely with them. Again, understanding that Nashoba Medical Center was closed just about, will be what, 18 months, 19 months ago in Ayer. We knew that it was a significant loss for not just Ayer, but for the entire Nashoba area. At the time, I was actually asked to represent UMass on the governor's working group with some of you who were on this call, including Robert, around how to address the needs of the region. Certainly, emergency care and longer EMT time was a significant concern in the region. And because of, and again, a little more information on UMass, because we were actually created out of a act of the legislature. We are a nonprofit hospital, even though we are independent from the state. Our mission to ensure people have access to health services really is our driving factor. So when Dr. Dixon got the call from the governor's office of what can we do, we certainly saw that it was, integral to our mission to show up in the Nashoba area to address those needs. Just some additional recognitions here as well. So we are, and I'm pleased to say, as many of you know, is that we are going to be opening a standalone emergency facility in Groton. And I'll have some slides in a minute that will show you what that emergency facility will provide. But really how we got here, and our goal is not to just show up as a emergency provider, but really show up as a medical provider for this region. As many of the speakers mentioned earlier in this call, the importance of quality of life, including access to housing, education, and healthcare, is what attracts and sustains businesses to live in the to open and maintain their businesses in the region. And people need to have those access to those resources for themselves and their families. But even as one of the speakers mentioned, we pull in this region, in the Nashoba region, from a 45-mile travel time, commuter time. So people are coming to work in this area that may not live in this area. And again, access to healthcare is incredibly important. After Nashoba actually closed, Health Alliance down here in Fitchburg and in our Fitchburg, Leominster, and our Clinton facilities saw a considerable increase in emergency care, about 13% growth over the prior year. We also saw over 500 patients just in fiscal year 25 that came for specialty care as well as imaging and other diagnostic needs. And that really is reflected. Our local Nashoba Boards of Health, which is a fantastic organization, recently created a health needs assessment. And you can see that access to healthcare certainly was the number one need that was identified in that report. And I pretty much talked on this. I will just comment that the relationship with the EMS in that area is significant. Our partnerships with the area fire chiefs in terms of location of placing this new facility in Groton really came from the fire chiefs understanding the needs along sort of the northern tier of the Nashoba area. And our goal is to be providing over 15,000 visits a year at the emergency facility. I won't go through all these, but certainly other opportunities, as I was mentioning, specialty care and diagnostic care that we have I'll also just maybe briefly put a call out that our Fitchburg campus is home to the region's, the sort of north central region's only cancer center, providing, state-of-the-art, best in class cancer care, very close to the Nashoba region. So what an SEF is very well defined by the state of Massachusetts. And so within that is the need to provide, of course, 24/7 care. And this is high level adult pediatric. This is not a glorified SEF, but also ensuring that we can provide diagnostic labs. And while not required, we are actually locating a helipad at the facility. So our life flight asset can be better utilized to serve that region. The building broke ground in September, and if anyone has driven by it recently, it is going up extremely quickly. Interior walls are beginning to be put up. This is what the center looks like. It is located at 500 Main Street in Groton. Some images of what the internal space will look like. As you can see, the types of treatment rooms and imaging that we'll be providing. There has been a lot of time and effort focused on what are the needs of this region, what are the specific needs, understanding that there are a lot of businesses. We have some prisons in the area, we have a lot of children, and also a lot of seniors. I won't go through all these because I know we're probably close on time, but a lot of folks have asked why not purchase the old facility. Unfortunately, we were not able to make an agreement with the real estate holder of that facility, but we do believe that the investment in a new site will provide us really optimized top level quality patient care. And again, I won't go through all these, but we really do have an eye on understanding that there are many businesses in this area and making sure that there are opportunities for your employees to live in the area or who come to the area to have access. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tricia. Coming up next is our last speaker, Melissa Fetterhoff with the Nashoba Valley Chamber of Commerce, talking to us about getting the word out, marketing, communication, and more.
Hello, everybody. All right. Thank you for having me. Happy to always be a partner with the town of Ayer. Actually, with many of the speakers here today, we've had them either speaking at various events. We've hosted various programs. We actually have coming up on May 6th. We do office hours with our economic development folks. And so you can come meet with all of these folks right here at the Nashoba Valley Chamber, right down the street in Shirley. So my name is Melissa Fetterhoff. I'm the president and CEO of the Nashoba Valley Chamber. I have had the opportunity to work here for almost 25 years. And I got involved in the chamber because I was employed to help open up the IC Federal Credit Union in Ayer. And we needed to have a presence and get involved in the community. And so I joined the chamber. We hosted some events. We joined some committees, and I had the opportunity to meet so many great people. And I absolutely love working with the businesses and helping folks. And today we're going to talk a little bit about getting the word out. I know that businesses are always trying to find new ways to spread what they're doing. And so that's what we're here for today. First is, of course, relationships. As we've all heard so many times, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so at the end of the day, it really is about getting out there and meeting people and making those relationships. And the question that I will ask businesses is, are you showing up and consistently enough so that you're making those relationships? You can't just meet somebody once, never follow up, and then think that you've made a connection. So it's all about follow up, follow through. Also, digital marketing. There are so many digital marketing opportunities right now, especially, between blogging, posting something on the chamber website as a blogger, posting something on your website, being an expert in your field, making sure that your website is up to date, and there's always something changing on your website. It's not intended to be just a static display, but have some fresh content on your website. Email marketing. I'm always telling businesses, send news and let your customers know what you're doing. Don't just collect. I can't even tell you how many businesses that I've been into, and I'll sign up for their e-newsletter and never, either they don't add me or they're not sending an actual e-newsletter. They're just collecting email addresses. People want to hear about your business especially when they sign up. So definitely even if you just send once a quarter, send some sort of news. I am kind of skipping over some of this because I know that we are pressed for time. I'm happy always to schedule some time and go over this in more detail with anybody. Local community engagement. Of course, there's the chamber. I love to promote the chamber, but there's all kinds of local events and fairs. You can have a booth. I know that in June, we're partnering with Devon's for their Devon's Food Truck and Craft Festival. It's a great opportunity to promote your business. We've often had businesses that will set up a booth just to get out and meet people in the community, offering workshops and classes or attending workshops and classes, but collaborating with other businesses. And of course, I mentioned submitting press releases to the local newspapers, to the chamber, on cable TV. I know that cable is always looking for stuff that they can help promote. So lots of ways to get involved in the local community. Traditional marketing, I know that folks say, or folks wonder, if traditional marketing is still viable. It absolutely is. The key is, of course, to do targeted marketing and, make sure that the money that you're investing in it is worth it. We still have, in my office space here, we still have a place that people can put up flyers and posters. Always do flyers and posters, put them around town, put them at the local grocery store, in the libraries. There's billboards and signage. We have chamber members that, sell signage for billboards in the region. Of course, local print. We have newspapers and local magazines that many businesses will advertise in. We don't, other than, the true junk mail or bills. It's great. I love when I get my, local print magazines, and I love flipping through to see who the local businesses are that are promoting themselves in our area. And of course, branded merchandise, t-shirts, pens, mugs, all that fun stuff. Make sure that when you're out representing your business, you're actually representing your business and you have your, although that being said, I rarely do this myself, but that you have your t-shirt with your logo on it or whatnot. And of course, I would have to plug J&S Business Products right in downtown Ayer. Check them out. Customer focused promotions, you entice people to come into your place of business, do referral and loyalty programs, offer special discounts. Another opportunity to, do an email marketing and let people know about those programs that you're doing. Getting customer testimonials or doing a case study, that's a great way to, let people know about the people knowing, liking, and trusting you as well. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the chamber. There's so many opportunities. 25 years later, I'm still here because I love it so much. But there's great opportunities to meet people, educational opportunities. As mentioned, we have so many great resources that we have partnered with all of these great resources for you. And it's a great way to build credibility in the community. And And really, again, meet folks and get out there and spread the word about what you're doing. That's all I have. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. Again, I'm happy to set up time and chat with anybody and dive in a little bit more about custom ways that we could help. But thank you again, Ray and Town of Air, for having me and partnering with us.
Yes, thank you, Melissa, as well as to all of the speakers for participating today. I know we talked about a variety of topics, so I hope that folks were able to cherry pick things that were helpful for them. I just wanted to showcase an event that we did in Ayer back in February. So Ayer was incorporated on Valentine's Day 155 years ago. And so we did a partnership with various town departments as well as local businesses in the area where we tried to encourage people to get out, meet their neighbor, connect, support their local businesses. And then we had a birthday party at the very end. So you can see our cake there as well as some of the people who were in attendance. And I just wanted to share this because, again, like businesses have an important relationship, not just with the town, but community members. And so, Melissa ending it with how businesses can connect with the community. That's very important, as well as figuring out ways where you can also let the town, as a business, know what you're up to. So then we can network and see who we can put you in touch with. And I just wanted to share our contact information again for this event. The plan is the recording, as well as the PowerPoint presentations will be shared on our website, and I'll try to do some direct emailing with businesses in the community to make sure that for folks who aren't able to come, they can still get the benefits of the information that was shared here today. And then if you guys have any feedback you would like to share on how the forum went, please send an email to me. And now, Melissa, I'll turn it over to you to facilitate any questions that folks may have.
Great. So I didn't see any questions in the chat, but I don't know if anybody has a question. If they want to raise their hand or unmute themselves, I can. I do not see any.
Hi, Melissa. It's Neil
Neil.
Angus
Hi,
from the
Neil.
Devon's Enterprise Commission. Thank you, Ray, and Melissa for putting this on. It was great. I'm sorry I came in so late, but I did just want to extend an invite, to all the businesses in Air, and anybody who's interested, to the Earth Day Open Streets Festival that we're holding on McPherson Road in collaboration with the town of Air. Ray talked about, celebrating, the town of Air and the businesses, and this is a great opportunity to meet some of your neighbors and get out and enjoy McPherson Road without cars on it. So it's our Open Streets Day. It's on Earth Day, April 22nd. And information's on our website. It's posted on the town of Air's website as well, too. Hope you guys can make it.
Thank you. Great. Any other questions or thoughts?
Neil, actually, can I tap you for a second? I'm so glad you could come because you guys, I had a chance to do a tour of Devon's with Neil and senior planner Beth Sudemeyer. And something that they shared with the town of Air when we were on a tour with them is that they were willing to showcase what Devon's is doing to Air businesses when it comes to things like stormwater. But Neil, I was hoping you could touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely. We do a lot of work with incorporating low impact development techniques, green infrastructure elements into commercial development projects here on Devon's. We have a virtual tour that we just launched with a series of videos. So you don't have to come here, but we'd love to have you. But it shows all commercial applications and residential applications of these what we call nature-based solutions or more natural methods to deal with for developments to deal with stormwater management. I can certainly send Ray the link to that so she can circulate it to all of you, and I feel free to check it out online. It's a really neat way to see how businesses are, meeting some of the sustainable redevelopment goals of Devon's and, integrating the natural and built environment into their developments. So would be happy to share that. Thanks for bringing that up, Ray.
I don't see any other questions. So that might be a wrap.
That's a wrap. Have a great lunch, everybody. A great rest of your Friday and weekend. And thank you so much for attending. Really great to see everyone who was here and learned a lot.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.